Round 1 for the Minimax Challenge went to the KILLARNEY kart circuit in Cape Town. And for race 1, it was the Gauteng man, Mohammed Wali, putting his elbows out, leading ahead of Matthew Morrell of Gauteng as well. So the Joburg boys doing well, showing Cape Town how it's done. Still, Mohammed Wali managed to open a respectable gap ahead of some of his compatriots there. But Troy Snyman quickly took back the lead, proving he does have the pace to answer some difficult questions that Wali was putting to him. Ultimately, Morrell would take himself out of contention, really. It must have been a driver error there. And for the race, the win was taken by Troy Snyman, responding very well to Wali's onslaught. But in race 2, it was the same names involved again, Wali and Snyman side by side. And Wali took the lead very early on, but Snyman ultimately able to answer back with some clean overtaking, very respectable space given there. And race 2 went to Snyman, and in second place, Mohammed Wali. And for race 3, Matthew Morrell went into the lead there ahead of Mohammed Wali and Troy Snyman. And Snyman would try and make a move on the inside of Morrell, but Morrell was opening no doors for the man, giving Wali a comfortable lead, significantly taking some pace off himself. There was Snyman, but he did recover and managed to overtake Wali. A lot of hard work from him to close the gap of the pace he lost, but they went side by side again, and Wali taking the lead in the last lap. It was a heated battle between the two. Troy Snyman was not letting him go. A checkered flag just in his sight, and Wali goes off all by himself into the grass, and Snyman takes the win, saying thank you very much, Joburg boy. 3 for 3, well done. And Troy Snyman takes overall win for the day over Mohammed Wali and Jason McBeath. Round 2 of the Minimax in the Rotax Max Challenge went to a wet CELSO SCRIBANTE circuit, and where Mohammed Wali was going to put his name down for the lead very early on, but he had to concede to second place. There ahead was Troy Snyman, making the best of a bad situation. Troy van der Laan spinning out there in the wet conditions. Mohammed Wali had a lot of work to do, and he did, taking race 1. Very well done to him, and not so well done to Mandla Mlangeni, spinning out and damaging Mohammed Wali's try to catch up with Matthew Morrell, and ultimately Mohammed Wali himself would spin out 2 corners later and having to work his way back up and catch up with the leaders in the form of Matthew Morrell and Troy Snyman. Another casualty there of the wet conditions. Van der Laan, a second time of asking. Mohammed Wali had to work very hard. Circuit looked a bit dry at this point in the race. Very smooth overtaking from the young man there, must have a bit in his teeth, but Troy Snyman took the checkered flag. Well done to him. And for race 3, Mohammed Wali would be in the lead ahead of Morrell and Snyman. Morrell unceremoniously removed there by Troy Snyman, having to work his way back up to third place, but the checkered flag went down to Mohammed Wali, the Gauteng man, securing himself an overall second place finish behind Troy Snyman, who took first by a very narrow margin, and in third place was Matthew Morrell. Round 3 of the Rotax Max Challenge for the Minimax class was at the spaghetti-like IDUBE circuit, and Matthew Morrell had to lose out to Troy Snyman, taking first place there, having to settle for second, and Snyman would open a lead and a half, ultimately securing himself the checkered flag, McBeath losing out to the difficult conditions in IDUBE.
I just want to say thank you to Rotax for all they've done for me as a driver since 2004. When they gave a few South Africans the opportunity to do the RM1, which was the start of GD2, changed my whole racing career, changed my life, because it put me on the map internationally, gave me the opportunity to win 2 European Championships, gave me the opportunity to win 2 Rotax World Finals, and put me in the game to be a professional racing driver. I'm a Rotax engine builder and a driver coach and a team owner. So I had a launching point from there, and it's really given me an opportunity to build myself. And if Rotax didn't allow that to happen and give us an even platform to compete on, I don't think I'd be where I am today.
But ultimately, Troy Snyman would make it 3-4-3 at his home circuit. Well done to the young man, taking the overall honors for the day ahead of Mika Abrams and Mandla Mlangeni in third place. In the final and deciding round for the Minimax class at ZWARTKOPS International Raceway, there was a bit of bad luck on the part of Troy Snyman, unfortunately being disqualified for a weight infringement. Ultimately, he didn't have a result for Heat 1, so he had a lot of work to do for the rest of the weekend. But Mohammed Wali, in the meantime, taking the reins for race 1, but he'd pay costly for the mistake he made there on the curb. Troy Snyman getting a chance to overtaking, having worked his way back up and eventually catching up to Matthew Morrell and overtaking him for first place. Morrell having to stick to his bumper there. Very well done job there to Troy Snyman, probably with a bit in his teeth. after the DQ. Now for race 3, he leads it going into the front. Mandla Mlengeni in second place, local lad, very familiar with the ZWARTKOPS circuit. A bit of a back and forth between the three riders because Matthew Morel put his name on there, but Troy Snyman, very relaxed, very confident, taking an overall lead there for race 3. And it's the same scene again in race 4, but Morel putting his name down just ahead of some of the RKT and OTK chassis there. Muhammad Wali having to work very hard to get a good run up, but there was nothing you could do to the man Troy Snyman. Enough motivation for him to take a clean sweep of the races he did compete in. Matthew Morel taking honours for the day ahead of Muhammad Wali and Jason McBeath. Now in the championship, Troy Snyman took it by a huge 40-point margin thanks to his earlier exploits ahead of Matthew Morel and Muhammad Wali in third place. Now round 1 for the Junior Max class of the Rotax Max Challenge went to KILLARNEY in Cape Town, and the locals Dolenshek Ols as well as Bishop leading the only Gauteng rider Akil Alibai.
As far as Rotax goes, from my point of view, it's a fair class. It's pretty standardized with all the engines, so a lot of it is up to the driver. Good chassis setup. You obviously need to be part of a good team to be running at the front, and your driver needs to understand what the KART is doing, be able to tell you what it's doing. But if you look at the results and the times, the top 6 drivers are normally in the same, not even 10th, more like 100th of a second. So the racing is very competitive and very close.
Ngwanda Mukwena, a casualty of some argy-bargy, losing his wheel, giving the lead to Akil Alibai, who wins it ahead of Joseph Ols. Now it would be all to play for the teenagers, keeping it as wild as you'd expect. Jordan Brooks getting a high side and ultimately affecting Ngwanda Mukwena and Akil Alibai, the Joburg boys, having to work their way back from that incident. And ultimately a few more elbows out incidents there, but Jordan Brooks recovered well, nothing wrong with his cart. But Troy Dolenshek as well as Joseph Ols, they having a back and forth. We'll see Ols making some answers. Ooh, and then another high side where Dolenshek becomes a trailer, and you've got Ols recovering there to keep the lead. Looks like Tate Bishop wanted to steal it from him there but couldn't, and Ols ultimately took first place ahead of Bishop. Race 3 saw Joburg boy Akil Alibai taking pole position. He'd be involved in a bit of a battle with the local lad Lanfear, who was also passed by Joseph Ols there, working his way up the field. Also getting past one Dolenshek over there, very neat overtaking between the two Cape Town lads, and Dolenshek ran Ols wide, and Alibai capitalizing, taking a second place there and managing to secure it for the long run. Bit of a back and forth, he got close to Dolenshek. Ols tried to overtake, but ultimately Dolenshek would take first place, Ols in second and Alibai in third. And overall for the day, Joseph Ols takes it, Alibai in second place, and Tate Bishop comes in third. Round 2 went to a wet CELSO SCRIBANTE kart circuit where Ngwanda Mukwena would lead going into race 1 ahead of Troy Dolenshek, Carl Visser and Joseph Ols. Now Dolenshek slightly ahead of Visser there. Visser getting a bit into his bumper, trying to take him off balance, and nearly manages to secure that lead, but Dolenshek, a tough man, eventually loses out going onto the grass, and Visser would go ahead of him and secures the win for race 1. A bit of rough racing there, but well done to him. And then going into race 2, it was Dolenshek going ahead of Visser, maybe a sequel to that battle from race 1. Dolenshek opened a very large lead and had no trouble at all. Going into race 3, it was Visser out in front, some fast lap times in race 2, but he would fumble the lead as he went off there, handing it to Troy Dolenshek, who would take the lead, and Visser had to work his way back up from 4th, and he would stay there for the rest of the race. Bit of battling there with Alibai losing out to Bishop in a very tight part of the circuit, and Troy Dolenshek slipping and sliding as he takes the checkered flag. And overall the results went to Troy Dolenshek in first place, Carl Visser, Tate Bishop in third. Round 3 went to the IDUBE Raceway in KZN, where Joseph Ols was a non-factor due to an elbow injury, but in the meantime Troy Dolenshek would take pole position ahead of Akil Alibai, battling it out there with Tate Bishop. Tate Bishop using the toe very well behind Akil Alibai. Carl Visser also is a factor there, side to side, tire to tire with Tate Bishop, and losing out did Visser there, having to work his way back up from 5th. and Troy Dolenshek taking the lead, a very narrow lead at that, which you would ultimately concede to Akil Alibai, who takes it ahead of Fissa and Dolenshek in third. Now for race 2, it was a scene very similar to race 1. We're looking at Akil Alibai in the mix there in the lead ahead of Fissa as well as Dolenshek, the same 3 characters featuring in the battle for second there, because Ethan Kutsia is the man who take first. Now going into race 3, Akil Alibai trying to take pole position there ahead of Kal Fissa. Bit of battling going on there to secure a lead. Wanamukwena putting his nose cone in the mix there. We haven't seen him for a while, but there was an ambitious move on the part of Fissa trying to overtake Alibai, and Fissa would lose out the biggest because he would have to go off his kart irrecoverable from that. Alibai was able to continue after the red flag we see from the marshals there, and when we did see that restart, it was one Ethan Kutsia in the lead ahead of Mukwena, a man who upped his pace, eventually actually taking the lead. The man is working his way up. Troy Dolenshek losing out to a technical issue. It seems he was playing around with his radiator, but it was Ethan Kutsia who secured the win there, and ultimately for the day it was Kutsia who was the quickest ahead of Alibai and Tate Bishop. Now going into the final round of the ZWARTKOPS International Kart Raceway, Akil Alibai was ahead of Bishop and Troy Dolenshek, so it was going to be a tight battle, and we saw it from the beginning. But there was a man a bit more relaxed, that was Akil Alibai, having secured an African Open seat to race overseas. He had less to compete to, but he wasn't going to be driving slow. That's him taking Fissa over there at turn 1, leaving no room at all. But there was a lot of battling between Fissa as well as Bishop. Dolenshek capitalizing from some of those battles, but ultimately Alibai still wanted to prove he's the quickest man on the circuit, even though he has the least to play for. Now going into race 3, it was Tate Bishop taking the lead going into the tight stuff, having a good run up the hill. Dolenshek losing out, track a bit too narrow for him, and Chiamfanelli there putting his name in the mix of the championship battle between Akil Alibai and Troy Dolenshek, who would finish second behind Tate Bishop for this race, with Akil Alibai nowhere to be seen. Would that affect his championship challenge? Going into race 4, he had a lot of work to do. Troy Dolenshek already has one hand on the championship, and ultimately in second place he was fighting against Tate Bishop. Chiamfanelli also putting his name among the hitters there, but Troy Dolenshek was just too strong for Akil Alibai and ultimately secured that championship. Wild celebrations from him there, but overall for the day it was Tate Bishop, Troy Dolenshek in second, and Kal Fissa in third. So there you have it. Troy Dolenshek takes the South African Championship, and he'll be joined by Akil Alibai overseas, who had won the African Open, securing himself a seat. Both the riders out there in Sano.